Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope you're having a good one. What's good, what's good, what's good? So, still not a pretty day. When I checked, we were as low, or Bitcoin was as low as 69 and change. And if I take a peek right now, it seems to be at 70,184. I'm just going to refresh the screen just to make sure. Just to make sure. Nope. $69,914. That's where we are. Nice trades in 2 seconds. So, tonight's question. What centralized exchange is making a pivot beyond crypto? We're going to have to get into that one. Binance.us, KuCoin, or MEXC, or other. If you think it's other, drop it in the comments. Oh man, it's been a week. It's been a week and it's only Thursday, but at least tomorrow will be Friday. So Coinbase and Apex Group launched a Bitcoin yield fund on Base using ERC 3643, integrating compliance via Tokenies system with Apex, or Tokenies system, with Apex targeting $100 billion in tokenized funds by the end of 2027. When I stop and I think about tokenized assets, right? I think they went middle of the road with their number. A little aggressive with time frame, possibly, but I think they went middle of the road. I really do think they went middle of the road. And the reason why is because if you look at the size of the RWA space, it's huge. It's huger than huge. Technically, it's everything on the planet, right? Let me rephrase. Everything on the planet that is of value. Vive la différence. Vive la différence. So you start to realize, holy moly, that could change things. That's why I'm saying I think that number could be on the middle side, in the middle of everything. If you wanted to be modest, you would say 50 billion, right? If you wanted to go just a touch higher, 100 is the number. But if sky's the limit, then there really isn't a number, right? You could say 250, you could say 500, you could say a trillion. Because what's the actual addressable market? That's why I'm like, yeah, they didn't undercut it by too much. They were just kind of like, here's what we believe is an achievable number. I'm sitting here and I'm kind of going, yeah, I don't know if that's a just achievable. You know what I mean? So we're gonna have to see, because what I'm looking for with regard to tokenized assets, or RWA, is the idea that we're going to have a lot, right? I want to see what comes online. Here's the kicker. I want to see how it gets used. Can it be traded? How is it traded? Like, what are the mechanics? Because remember, we're kind of at the beginning of all this. So if you're at the beginning of all this, you haven't worked out all the kinks. You haven't worked out how do you handle the volume, right? And the initial offering for the tokenized assets, there's a lot. There's a lot, mechanically to actually figure out all those logistics and everything. So I'm waiting to see, how does that work out? I think that's the most interesting thing that I can think of right now, honestly. Because I'm sitting here and I'm kind of like, wow, that right there could be very interesting, especially depending on what market you're trying to hit. Oh, is it just stocks? Is it automobiles? Is it collectibles? And if so, which collectibles? baseball cards, albums. You'd be surprised at what people collect. And here's the kicker. You'd be surprised at how much things actually are valued at in the right market. There used to be a couple of shows on television that would, do all kinds of things like that, where they'd value antiques and collectibles and all that stuff. A few shows like that. I don't know where they are anymore. I wish they brought them back, made them more prominent, because I used to love those shows, because you'd be shocked. You would absolutely be shocked at, wow, somebody finds that of value. Yeah. So it really depends on what you're going into. It truly depends on what you're going into. I mean, how does value get transferred now? So I can transfer value via paintings, art. Yeah, you didn't know that, right? Expensive watches. I want you to think about something. So here's something that I learned a while ago. So if I want to buy a $2 million watch from wherever, and I don't want to pay the taxes on that watch, you know what I can do? I can fly a plane, a private jet, and if I'm buying that watch, I can afford this. Let's get that out of the way before people say anything. And yes, it's getting someplace. Now, I want to buy this $2 million watch. I fly a plane, an empty plane, out there to go get the watch. I'm not even on the plane. I'm busy. I'm not even on the plane. Ghost trips. They put the watch, they deliver the watch to the plane. The plane leaves with the watch. Nothing to claim. The watch was delivered in country. Watch was already paid for in country. I don't have to pay import taxes or anything else. Heck, you don't even know if the watch exists. Watches, anything of value, they're doing transportation like that to avoid taxes. Like I said, if I'm buying a $2 million watch, I can afford to fly a plane to wherever to go get my watch. Crazy, right? Crazy. And legal. I mean, you're avoiding taxes, but you're not avoiding taxes, so legal. Or not illegal. It's very widely known. This is done every day. Yeah. There are safe havens for like artwork all around the world. So think about that artwork, selling it, trading it, using it to transfer value. Catching on now, right? Now you're starting to see, right? Yeah. Yeah, now you're starting to see how that works. And I'm sitting back and I'm going, holy moly, that's crazy. Except not so crazy. But now introduce tokenization, and now this thing of value can just be traded, right? Like I said, I'm looking to see how the mechanics are. I'm looking to see what it's like. 8 Paws in the house. Thanks for letting us know you invested in yourself. Again, one more time. What centralized exchange is making a pivot beyond crypto? It's going to be an interesting conversation. Binance.us, KuCoin, MEXC, or other. If it's other, drop it in the comments. Yo, my man, Richie, I'm surprised you didn't actually say, what 8 Paws said. She seems to be on some sort of a kick. Some people these days, some people. But, so imagine, that's why I'm saying $100 billion? $100 billion doesn't seem like anything nowadays, does it? I mean, for example, you had who is it? BlackRock? BlackRock's ETHB fund surpassed $254 million in assets under management in a week. $250 million. Now, granted, that's $250 million, but $250 million to get to $100 billion, how many weeks? And then you start to realize, yeah, that's actually not a lot. That's not a lot. then BlackRock might have some sticker shock because Morgan Stanley is gearing up to actually start selling its own Bitcoin ETF, which would most likely lead to don't sell IBIT anymore. BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF. And they're about to do the same thing with Ethereum. That's going to be interesting. So you know how I have a risk register and I have a positive register? Like I just keep track. I try to keep track of what I think is going to affect my bag that's going to have like the most impact. That's going to cause possibly the most pain. Right? Or give me the most pleasure. Grow my bag. That's the whole point. So I'm looking at that and I'm kind of going, how much pain is BlackRock going to feel if Morgan Stanley stops selling, theirs? They've got 15,000, I guess for all intents and purposes, salespeople. How long is that? How long would that be? I don't think they're going to feel it. They might feel it, for the first shock, because it'll be a think. It'll be a cut the cord kind of deal. But I think it'll be made up. I think after a while it'll wind up being made up. And here's the thing. It's not a severed tie. It's we're not going to sell anymore. And then when people want to get back in, we will steer them toward ours and not yours. But whoever's got your IBIT will maintain holding that IBIT until they don't want it anymore. All those lettuce hands FOMO, same people. So yeah, I'm keeping an eye on my. I have a planter inside my office, and I just filled it up with water, maybe a little too much water, to be frank. And I'm listening to it leak. Not leak. So you fill it up with water, and when there's an overflow mechanism, and if it overflows, okay, you just catch the water and dump it out. No big deal. But yeah, I'm looking at how the market is shaping up. Again, I'm a guy that likes to pay attention to infrastructure. We're not talking about BlackRock's IBIT going under or anything like that. We're talking about more competition. Infrastructure. Morgan Stanley's finally catching up to the big boys. Morgan Stanley's not, I like Morgan Stanley, don't get me wrong, but Morgan Stanley is not a top tier. It's like second tier, right? It's second. The big boys and big girls that play up here, they play up there. Morgan Stanley's over here. So it made sense for them to tell their 15,000 consultants to, or advisors to go out there and sell, IBIT. Cool. Now my question is, with those 15,000 advisors, are they also going to tell them, here's how to educate your customers? It was a question I've been asking for a while. So I don't know when they were selling IBIT if they were actually educating their customers or just quickly selling a product. I'm wondering if their tactic will change when they start selling their own. Right? That right there is interesting to me. I'm like, oh, that's good. That right there is really, really good. So I am paying attention to that. My man, Mr. Big, thanks for letting us know that you invest in yourself. Greatly appreciate that. So yeah, I'm looking at stuff like that. Then Bybit introduced a yield-bearing tokenized gold product, XAUT, enabling interest earnings as tokenized commodities hit $6 billion in February amid gold price declines and rising blockchain-based asset interest. You introduce it now and you let it rock. Just let it go. It's sort of like when you first start investing. The sooner you start investing, the more money you'll make, right? Compound, compound, compound. You get what I'm saying? So you've got to plant your flag at some point, and it'll be this big for however long, and it'll slowly grow I mean, just like our community, we're slowly growing, right? 32,800 or so. Slowly growing, but growing nonetheless. That's why I look at that. That's why I make note of it, right? That's why I make note of it. Then you have EtherFi allocating $25 million to Plume's RWA protocol. RWA, again. Offering hybrid crypto-based strategies, as tokenized RWAs, again, reach a certain point. And you're kind of like, okay. There seems to be a theme. Now you know why I pay attention to these tiny little things. It just so happened that I got that news today. 2 things today. Does XAUT wallet address show? How about you go look that up? I do not know. You have to go look that up. And I would say that it's Bybit. I believe Bybit is the second largest centralized exchange on the planet. So go look it up. Whoever's interested in that, go look it up. It's a different kind of product. I'm not expecting them to be the same kind of product as everybody else. Again, it's a yield-bearing gold product enabling interest earnings and all that kind of stuff based on tokenized assets. Okay, cool. Gotta go do your own research. Know your entries and exits, because look at what Hutanik wrote. Look at what he typed. He's not wrong in asking the question. If you're going to do the research, answer that question. Answer that question. And by the way, thank you for investing in yourself. I greatly appreciate that. But yeah, go answer the question. There are a lot of tough questions you have to ask, and you have to then ask yourself, why is that important? Just saying. Here's something else to consider. Bybit is a foreign exchange, meaning it's not based here in the United States. So what we see and what others see might be different. Just saying. Then you have Animoca Brands investing in Ava Labs or Ava Labs. I think it's Ava Labs to boost Avalanche projects again in RWA. A couple of years ago, didn't we talk about how California put its titles for automobiles on RWA? I mean, on Avalanche. Yeah. Nobody really thinks of Avalanche as a tokenization platform. Not many realize it. Avalanche is a very versatile platform. And Animoca Brands dumping money into that? Yeah, they ran the numbers. They absolutely ran the numbers and liked what they saw. Just saying. So I'm looking at it and I'm kind of going, RWA again. RWA again. We've been saying it for a while. We've been saying it for a few years. RWA is going to be the biggest thing on the planet. And then, kind of went quiet for a little while. Now, RWA here, RWA there. Today, we got 3 stories about RWA. It seems like every day there's somebody's doing something with tokenization. Just saying. You can see it turn. You can see it start to turn into a little something. That one. Then you start to realize, holy moly, this could wind up to be interesting. This is shaping up to be interesting. Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. The GMB3, you must. It's not a question. You can't go out there and just... Don't do that. Don't do that. You'll come back inside the house with no shirt on. Don't do that. And once you start doing the research on things just start to click. Things just start to click. And then you start asking yourself, how did I not understand that before? That's so basic. Dead serious. I learn something new every day. Every day. Even from people that I think are stupid. Do you want to know why? A broken clock is correct 2 times a day, right? You never know when your next lesson is going to come from, is my answer. And because you never know where your next lesson is going to come from, take the time to do at least a little bit of research. Right? I didn't have a lot of time. I'm extremely pressed for time because I have like just a ton of work that I need to get done. So my time is fleeting. And forget it if one of my kids call. Everything gets dropped. So I don't have a lot of time. Rick Ritchie got on me and he was like, dude, you freaking go do the research, please. Just go do it. Take 5 minutes and go look up Canton. And I didn't have time. The first time he asked me, I did not have time. He asked me again, like what, a week later? I still didn't have time. And then I was like, ugh, I got stuck on a problem. And I was like, ugh. And I was about to pick up my phone to doom scroll for a little bit to clear out my head. And I was like, I should go look that up. I should go look that up. Yeah. And then you sit there and you're kind of like, oh, interesting. Oh, that's who's involved. I've got certain rules for myself. My risk framework says if somebody gives me the heebie-jeebies, right, don't do it. Don't do it. I do not, when I was a kid, I would do this stuff. I would just go do it. And I've learned over the years, I'm not holding my nose to do anything anymore. If it doesn't smell good, don't do it. Period. If it doesn't sniff right to you, I'm not, no. Like sometimes I see how, damn, I could have made a lot of money off of that. 2 seconds later, rug pull. Yeah. And then I started saying to myself, man, I could have made money if that, like just before that, I could have lost my shirt is what I could have done. That's what I could have done. Lost my freaking shirt. And I was like, you know what? You right. Looked at myself and I was like, you right. You only have to be off by a second. You know what? You know what I didn't look up today? And I meant to because I didn't have time. I didn't look up Pippin. I did not look up Pippin. And that can't be right. That cannot be right. There's no way that's right. That's impossible. You know what? Let me go over to the other side. I just want to see like where Pippin is. And I'm looking at my watch list and I don't pay attention to anything else. Just I have my watch list. And it's 96. Show. I want you to show 500 at a time. There you go. So now I do Control F. Pippin. Be smart if I actually was in the screen. And Pippin is ranked 189th. Wow. It's worth 9.6 cents with a $96 million, with an M, $million market cap. Year to date, it has dropped 75.36%. Ain't got no green. I mean, it's up 0.9% right now. Ain't got no green. What am I missing? You didn't post it for me because I wasn't posting anything. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate the post, but you weren't posting it for me. I didn't have to do the research. And he did ask you to do the research too. So and that's not research. That's an article. That's not research to me. I want to know more. I want to know a lot more. Like you want to know a lot more. That wasn't enough research. I wanted to do enough to actually put together like a dossier, and I did. To me, it wasn't pretty. To others, they're kind of like, "Oh, that's really cool. It's going to go places. It's doing something." They have a lot of connections. It's Cantor Fitzgerald. They have a lot of connections. But I don't trust what they're doing. I don't trust who they are. I don't like how they do business. I just don't. Other people might. It might be okay for them. For me, my risk framework said, you don't like how it smells, don't do it. Now, other people might like it. They might be like, oh no, look who's involved. And that could be a good thing for them. Cool. I hope you do make money. I'm just choosing not to make money like that. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with making money however you're making money, so long as it's legal. And they're not doing anything illegal. I just don't like them. It's sort of like Tron. You could have made bank on Tron. Tron makes money, right? But I just can't, because I can't stand Justin Sun. So I can't bring myself to do it. Cannot. It's like purposefully stepping on a mound of that stuff. I cannot. Purposefully? Nah. Somebody have to be like, oh no, there's $1 million underneath that. All you gotta do is rub it away with your foot. Oh, okay, that's different. And I can see the money peeping out. I can see the yeah, no, okay, but nah, I just cannot. Hutanik, you're wrong again. You're wrong again. Sit down. I hope you're sitting down. And where's Patient One? The reason why I say you're wrong again is because, yeah, that comment just before this one, yeah. They're not going to be able to. There's a one of the sticking points of the Clarity Act is that, they don't want people in Congress, in that branch of government to make money off of crypto and other things. Cool. They wanted to include the presidency. Guess what? The answer was no. The answer was, you will absolutely not get that bill signed by me. And there are definitely not enough votes to override the veto. But he was like, yeah, nah. Doesn't that make sense? Why would I sign that into law when I'm making so much money off these people that don't realize I'm stealing? I'm doing things I ought to be doing. Now, I will say this. For a long time, people have been crying about he doesn't show his taxes or anything else. Real quick. It's not a law. It's not a law. And it was only introduced late last century. Yeah. So what we take for granted is not a law, and he doesn't have to. But would I touch anything with that name on it? Well, for a period of time, that meme coin went up, and then it dropped 96%. And then who was buying now? Yeah, a bunch of whales. Yeah, no. Nope. Not at all. I don't know if the math is correct, but the other coin for his wife, if that's what you want to call that arrangement. Sorry for the smart comic. That was a little cheeky. I'm sorry. That coin, had you spent $1,000 on it, somebody said, and I still have to do the math, said it would be worth $7 now. Yeah, nah. Not touching that. Not touching any of that. Too shady. Everybody from New York. If you're from New York, you know how deep the shade goes. Very shady. Very shady. No reason to touch it. None. I mean, unless you have that kind of money to burn and you just wanted to have skin in the game because you think it's funny and okay, I get it. But as a real investment, nope. I thought for sure it would hit I thought for sure that his coin would hit $100, and it didn't. And then it just kept falling and falling and falling because everybody cashed in. That's how that worked. Everybody who came in late, which is basically everybody that wasn't on the inside, got burned. Now you know why I tell people all the time, do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. You're not going to get around that. You're not going to get around that if you want to grow your bag. That's the bare minimum. You know what I mean? That's the bare minimum. So I have to teach my kids. I have to do the research. What am I going to teach them if I'm not doing the research? Just saying. Just saying. And somebody please tell me, why is Polymarket interested in DeFi? Huh. Yeah. Why is Polymarket interested in DeFi? Here's something else that caught my attention. Meta rolled back the idea of killing their virtual reality space. Why? They're like, yeah, we're going to walk that back. Huh? So I'm kind of like, what's going on with that? Here's something else that I'm paying attention to. I'll just read it to you. MLB and CFTC signed a prediction market integrity agreement designating Polymarket as its exchange following insider data leaks and legislative scrutiny of prediction markets. So the deal is between the CFTC, Major League Baseball, and Polymarket. Betting. Now, my question is, for every state that has a baseball team, how do you feel about gambling? Yeah, because unless Polymarket says, well, for those states that don't want it, we'll geofence. Okay, a VPN solves that, right? My aunt lives in that state. I'll use her address. Solves that. But seriously, huh? Again, I'm just looking at the dots and then how they're connected and or how they line up. I think that there's a battle brewing between states and the CFTC. That battle is brewing, and that's not a slam dunk for the CFTC. They're not just going to be able to come in and say, "Well, we're the federal government." They're not going to be able to do that because that's not how gambling works. Right? It doesn't work like that for gambling, and all they have to do is say that this is gambling. And if one state finds that whatever piece of their business model is gambling, well, all states can find that piece of their business model to be gambling. Illegal sports gambling is some place where everybody's going. Just saying. So I'm just wondering how that's going to move forward. Just saying, that's interesting to me. Opera plans to switch to 160 million CeeLo tokens for payments, valuing at about $12.8 million, aligning with CeeLo's governance after integrating CeeLo stablecoins into its browser since 2021. Now, forget about that. Just it's publicly traded. pay attention to everything that's going on. Now, Opera's not doing all that great, but Opera's publicly traded. A move like that, what does it say to you? I know what it says to me. It says to me that a lot of companies are beginning to make it easier for you to spend crypto. Honestly, I didn't see this coming. I didn't see it coming where platforms were going to enable you to do that. That's what I find to be interesting. So I'm just waiting to see more. You get to a point where enablement, and then all of a sudden it just starts to click for people. It starts to click for people. And then they're just in. They're in, and sometimes they don't even realize it. Don't you get, I know a lot of people that use Coinbase. I have a Coinbase account, by the way. No, they don't pay me for advertising, although they should. But when you go to Coinbase, isn't it hard to discern the difference between USDC and the US dollar? Like USD and USDC. They're making it more and more difficult for you. They're trying to make them interchangeable for you. Have you noticed? Like when you want to cash out, you go straight from USDC. They don't hold. When they first got started, you were holding USD in an account, in a vault. And all that changed. Yeah. The world becomes different. And Dark Horse, thanks for letting us know you invested in yourself. So imagine, allegedly Shopify will enable you to, do Bitcoin. Do crypto. Block will allow you to do crypto. There are a few, PayPal, obviously. You have a lot of enabled platforms that are enabling you to use crypto to do stuff. Wow. There's actually a lot of foundational work that's been done. A lot of foundational work that's been done to make it easy for people to actually start using crypto. I think there's only one last bridge that needs to be handled. One. And once that happens, it's a wrap. Dead serious. Once that happens, it's a wrap. Want to know what it is? People getting paid in crypto. Stablecoin, whatever the heck. People getting paid in crypto. That's the final step. You get a few companies to offer that to their people, and they get a good number of people to say, that'll be news. That'll be freaking headlines. Get paid in crypto, get paid in dollars, the same thing. That's why they call it a stable coin. You can see it coming. Other countries, they do. You can see it coming here in the United States. But you're like a hair away. Just saying. Then you start to realize, oh man, that last step, people getting paid in crypto. Oh, you're done after that. You're totally done. You're like, oh my God, that's so wonderful. I can have that dropped into whatever exchange or account that I want, which can easily be automatically accruing, rewards for me, yield. Interesting. Very interesting to me. Something that happened today, a Coinbase Commerce page allegedly requested wallet recovery phrases, raising security concerns as Coinbase has not addressed the issue despite warnings against sharing seed phrases. Now, I haven't seen the screen myself. I've seen pictures of a screen. I haven't seen the screen myself. But imagine if that's true. If somebody, if like a Zach XBT or a Chainalysis or whoever does the research on this and they come back and they say, oh, yeah, no, that was a thing, jaws will drop. Jaws will drop and Coinbase could have a little bit of a problem if it pans out. If it pans out, but I haven't heard anything yet. There's still more research that needs to be done. But that would be huge. That would be ridiculously huge. Something else about gold, because you know Hutanic likes gold. The World Gold Council launched a tokenized gold framework, gold as a service. Everything's a damn service. Anyway, gold as a service to standardize digital gold management following the rise of gold-backed tokens reaching about whatever billions in market cap. Yeah. Nuts. I'm sitting here and watching, just as I read off these stories, these headlines, I'm just sitting there. All the articles are on the site. I'm kind of like, wow, that's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to watch that, play out. Right? Republican senators pushed for a stablecoin study. The sources suggesting it favors crypto over banking industry claims as the Clarity Act faces more deadlines. You need to do studies. After how long? You need to do studies. After all this time, now is when you need to do study. We waste so much time, so much money on stupidity. We really do. A UK tax rule mandates crypto exchanges to share user data with HMRC, basically, for tax purposes, all that stuff, and 76 countries, raising security risks as similar frameworks in the EU limit national regulatory flexibility. So France had a problem. They did something like this, and crypto crime just took off. They call them wrench attacks. And they're thinking that the UK could walk down that same road with something like this. Kind of important, right? Because that says that there are 76 countries already involved in this. So imagine somebody cracks that database. Holy moly, now I know everybody that's got crypto. Somebody that died and left their dog all their money, all their value, and they left them all the crypto. Stupid, but you could see how that could actually be a realistic thing. And then you realize, holy moly, what, now they're going to come kidnap the dog so the trust pays it off? I mean, just sounds funny, but literally this is what's going on right now. All over France. Just look up wrench attacks. WRENCH. Look up wrench attacks. You'll see what I'm talking about. You will absolutely see what I'm talking about. Disney settled a $50 million antitrust lawsuit over streaming bundling practices, meaning they were charging more without actually saying something. And I'm kind of like, yeah, that's very interesting. Very interesting. Also, the other day, we've been talking about how software companies could be, walking down a road that is going to be painful. Google just dropped a new service and everybody's stock dropped. Figma stock dropped 8% after Google launched an AI design tool intensifying competition as Adobe's $20 billion acquisition failed. Yeah, they tried to buy Figma. It didn't happen. But they were trying to buy Figma because Figma has a piece of the market that they used to have, and now Figma is still competition, but now they both took a hit. Adobe took 1.38% hit. Figma took 8%. Yeah. You have to pay attention to a company like Google because Google just wants to keep your eyeballs. They just want your eyeballs on their products. And they can afford to take the hit because even though you're using one of these products, they're still making money off the eyeballs. So what does that say to you? It should say to you that not only can the big software companies take a hit, but the little ones too. I mean, Canva's taking a hit, right? Because I can just go like that, type something in, and there's an image. Talk to it and go, oh man, that's exactly what I was looking for. Yeah, and then you start to realize, holy moly, this is interesting. Hey, that was my idea. Leave my wealth to my. Eight pause. I'm going to call some people. And we're going to renovate the corner. And we're going to build a special wing in the corner just for you. You've been in the corner that much lately. Holy moly. Exactly. If you're not paying anything, you're the product. So is Google charging a lot of money for any of these things? No, some of them are free. I mean, yeah, you could buy a pro version of Gemini and other products, or you could just continue using this version. I mean, there's not that much of a difference. And you start to realize, oh man, this is fun. They're going to take businesses out of business. Canva has a problem. Adobe has a problem. Figma has a problem. All of those companies have problems now. There are companies out there that are specializing in temporary disruption. Do you know that? You understand the concept? Meaning they know that their existence is limited. Where could they have learned that? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it was how Microsoft did it back in the day. Oh, come into the tent. Everybody's welcome here, blah, blah, blah. What are they doing? Can we do that? We can do that? Okay. Yeah. No. It's beautiful. Yep. There used to be a company, Future Tense, and it was like freaking awesome. One word in the address bar, and bam, you would just go to the site that you were looking for. So instead of blah, blah, blah.com, it would just be blah, blah, blah. Boom, you go over to the site. Look at all the browsers now. You start typing, and it's like, oh, yeah, I remember that. Boom, and they send you over to the site. But Future Tense was taken out by Microsoft. Microsoft took out a lot of companies. So it's not even that they wrote the book on it. They just did it and made it famous. And then so now you have all these other companies that are doing it too. So you look at one of the latest companies to pull this off, OpenAI. OpenAI. All those plugins. Wait a minute. All those plugins. Some of them still exist. I don't know where they are, but some of them still exist as OpenAI plugins. But OpenAI just rolled all that crap into ChatGPT. Where'd all those companies go? Yeah, fly by night. You were hot one day, and then no reason to talk to you a day after that. Another company that isn't doing it, but another company that's disrupting, NVIDIA. They're a big company, right? OpenClaw is a mad hit, right? Internet sensation. Poor security. No support. Hard to install. Blah, 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 blah. NVIDIA comes out with Nemo. Yeah. NVIDIA comes out with Nemo. And for us, more technical, we're looking at Unsloth and what they came out with. And you're like, oh, that looks interesting. So what's the lesson to be learned? If you can come out fast enough and you can come out hot enough, you can reach an intense amount of heat, make a really good amount of money, And then that's it. Off to the next. So what are you doing? You're constantly looking for disruptive ideas. Jack Dorsey's working on, phones that don't require the internet. Because if you have enough of them, the signal bounces through those phones and goes wherever without ever touching the internet. A few companies that are doing that. Disruption as a business. What do you need for disruption as a business? What do you need? Developers. You need developers. That's why you see all these companies doing acqui-hires. Because they see it coming. They're like, oh no, we can't have these people running out loose on the street like this. Where's that bucket of money? Give it to them. And then give them a chair. I kid you not. I kid you not. That's when you buy a company, not just for its assets. Maybe you don't even give a rat's behind about their assets. You want their skills. You want their skills. Dark Horse. Kinda, yeah. Dark Horse, everybody's a normie about something. Everybody's a normie at one time or another. Remember that. So you're talking about a bunch of people that are on the street pounding pavement or have a job, and that job is just not paying enough. So they work on this side project. Next thing you know, side project comes out, people love it, boom. They make a few $100,000 all in one shot, maybe even a couple of mil all in one shot. They've also now demonstrated to the world that they know how to do certain things. And somebody comes along and says, hey, you, pick up that bucket, your chair is over there. Maybe your development skills suck. But your knack for finding different ideas, yeah, get that guy, get that girl, get them. Get all of them, get as many as you can. Creative thinking is the tool of choice. Creative thinking. You have people out here that are building some really cool stuff. Not even developers. They learn how to use this no-code stuff, and they're just throwing things together, and it won't even scale. It probably won't even be as secure as they want it to be, but it works. It's demonstrable. They can get enough people interested in it. They can start getting feedback immediately. Drop a cool app. You'll get like 10,000 people. Think about that. There are 32,800 people plus. Probably like 35,000 people that are involved in the Grow My Bag network, right? In our community. What do we get? Instant feedback. Instant feedback. Approaching 10,000 reads per week of the articles that are on the site. Instant feedback. And numbers. Because then people start going, there could be some potential over there. And then people start realizing, holy moly, you might want to go buy these guys. Just saying. Like, I can never get through all the news. Amazon acquired River, a robotics firm. I want you to pay attention to this, please. A robotics firm, because they want to start using robots for deliveries. What did you say, Eddie? I said they want to use robots for deliveries. That's what I done. Yeah. There are a lot of people right now that are stopping. They're going, robots for deliveries. Wait a minute. How many people are going to be put out of work? Think about what Amazon's been doing for a while. Drone deliveries. For drone deliveries, I'll just, I save money, right? Now imagine if I can get a robot, I can get a driverless car. A robot's in back. Robot drops the stuff off. Robot doesn't have to sit there and go like that with a phone. The robot just looks at where the package is and it's got it and then leaves. Does anybody see that coming? Does anybody see that coming? Quite interesting, if you ask me. The future, dude, these drones are already here. It's just we need to roll it out more. You've got drones on the backs of cars, right? You got drones on the backs of cars that will take off automatically, zoom up ahead and tell you what the traffic's like, like in real time. Not some app that's telling you somebody got stuck in traffic up there. No, they're telling you 3 miles before that there is massive traffic. Get off the highway here. I can tell you what, I wish I had that when I was, traipsing around the world with my kids playing sports. Driving all over this country just so they could play sports. One human in a chair, that's right. D-Mac into his house. Have you invested in yourself today, sir? So think about that. Think about that. That's crazy. That drone truck, look it up. It exists now, and guess where it exists? You damn Skippy. It's in China. You damn Skippy. Thank you, sir. Thank you for letting me know you invested in yourself. So imagine all this stuff going on, and everything points to less reliance on humans to do anything. You have restaurants that are almost 100% automated. Yeah. Fast food restaurants where all the food gets made, not a single human being touches it. It's insane. You want to hear something that's like crazy cheap? I know I got to go. It's like 9:00, but I just want to tell you this and tell you guys this, and then I want to get to the question real quick. So I saw in New York City, there's congestion pricing, right? If you go below a certain street or come up beyond a certain street, same street, obviously, duh, you've got to pay a toll. You're not going over a bridge. You're driving down the same street. Hold a thought. That's not the conversation. The uptown Amazon truck will park on this side, and the downtown Amazon truck will park on that side, and they take out these big carts and exchange stuff. I kid you not. I kid you not. Now, do you really think that it was the drivers that came up with that system? The drivers don't care. They didn't come up with that system. Not at all. That means it had to be told to them. Oh, yeah. Because they figured out the number of times that we'd have to pay that toll in New York City is ridiculous. We'll just park and use a shopping cart or whatever, big cart, and we'll exchange right there and go on about our business. That's happening. So I say this to you so that you understand to what level they will go to save money. That one. Insane, right? Insane. Tonight's question. What centralized exchange is making a pivot beyond crypto? Binance.us, KuCoin, MEXC. Wow. This might be the first time that Other got 0%. Of course, there are only 5 votes. Come on, people. We got to get better at this. We got to do better. Anywho, Binance.us, KuCoin, MEXC, Other. It's Gemini. It's Gemini. Should have seen that coming. And their stock shot up 7% based on that. I hope they enjoy that 7% bump because I don't think it's going to lead to anything. Dead serious. I want you to think about that. You're a centralized exchange in the United States and you're not making money? Yeah, there's that. And DMAC? Yeah. Going southbound, going northbound. I think it's 60th Street. You pass 60th Street, you've paid a toll. They have the things up there like Easy Pass. Yeah. Taps into Easy Pass, by the way. So it's not like Easy Pass. It is Easy Pass. Is that insane? So when a client wants me to go work all the way downtown, I factor in my parking because I don't do trains. I factor in my parking. I'm an old man. I've paid my dues with taking public transportation when I was a kid. My left leg was Yamaha. My right leg was Suzuki. Yamaha Suzuki got me to wherever I needed to go. I grew up around Spanish people. Just relax. Just tap your brakes. So, yeah. On the same street. You're not going over a bridge. It's not like you're going from Queens to Manhattan or Manhattan to the Bronx or any place to Staten Island. Nope. A street. And it doesn't hurt people that live in Manhattan. It conveniences them because they get less traffic and it pays a lot of money into the tax coffers. And it's kind of like you're giving, and they closed off parking. So you can't, it's hard to park on the street anymore. It's hard to park on the street anymore. That's right. I look at it like this. You don't want me to come to the city if I can't park. Parking is already exorbitant. That's the business. The business I think that's going to take off in New York is all the parking garages accepting crypto for payment. That would be chef's kiss right there. Chef's kiss right there. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. If you want to see the rest of the articles, go to growmybag.tv. You can do searches and all that good stuff, and you can have a blast doing your own research. Become a member. Helps us out. If you like what we're doing over here, hit the hypes, smash the likes. Definitely tell your friends about us. We're the only community that actually gives a damn about your knowledge when it comes to investing. All kinds of investing. And it's a safe space for all of us to learn something. Unless you're like Hutanicking, like picking on me. Get used to it. He's cool. Just saying. If you want to learn things, this is the place to learn things and ask dumb questions. Because I have a lot of dumb questions. I know I ask questions sometimes and you people are looking at me like, what the hell, man? I can't research everything. You know what I mean? That's why I ask people, hey, give me the answer, please. I just cannot. I have no more space. And I still have stuff to do. But if you like what we're doing, just show us a little bit of love. All right? Everybody, I want you to have a great rest of your evening, rest of your day, whatever it is. And see you tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. right here. Everybody have a good one. Bye-bye, and thank you.